What did ancient humans do when they got bored? Imagine you're a human living 20,000 years ago. You've spent the entire day walking through forests, gathering food, carrying supplies, and trying not to become lunch for something larger than you. The sun is finally setting, everyone's back at camp, dinner is over, and for the first time all day you have absolutely nothing important to do. No hunting, no gathering, no emergency, just free time. Now if that happened today, you'd probably grab your phone before you even realized you were bored. Ancient humans didn't have that luxury. No phones, no television, no internet, no books, no music apps, no video games, not even electricity. Just a campfire, a few friends, and several hours before sleep. So what did they actually do? Well, despite what movies sometimes show us, ancient humans weren't spending every second desperately fighting for survival. Sure, life was harder than it is today, but humans have always been humans. We've always laughed, joked, played around, told stories, and found ways to entertain ourselves. In fact, boredom may have been one of the most important forces in human history, because when people get bored, they start inventing things. One of the first things ancient humans probably did was tell stories. And honestly, storytelling was the perfect entertainment. It required absolutely nothing except a person with a voice and an audience willing to listen. After the sun went down, groups would gather around fires and talk. Some stories were probably useful. Hunters could explain where dangerous animals lived or describe places worth avoiding. But let's be honest, not every story was educational. Imagine a hunter returning to camp after being gone all day. Everyone asks how the hunt went. He says he saw a giant beast bigger than anything anyone has ever seen. Was it actually giant? Maybe, maybe not. But nobody can verify it. There are no photos, no videos, no witnesses. If he says the animal was enormous, everyone either believes him or spends the rest of the night arguing about it. And every time he tells the story, it probably gets a little more dramatic. The animal becomes larger. The danger becomes greater. His bravery becomes more impressive. Before long, what started as a normal hunting trip sounds like an action movie. Humans have been exaggerating stories for so long that it might actually be one of our oldest traditions. Storytelling was also surprisingly important. Many myths, legends, and cultural traditions probably began as people sitting around fires trying to make an evening more interesting. Some of the world's oldest stories may have started because somebody didn't want the conversation to end. Another thing ancient humans did was make music. And this might surprise you, but music is incredibly old. Archaeologists have found flutes made from bird bones that are tens of thousands of years old. Think about that for a second. Human beings were creating musical instruments long before they built cities. Apparently, one of our first priorities as a species was figuring out how to make noises for fun. Nobody knows exactly what those songs sounded like, but they probably weren't very complicated. Then again, they didn't need to be. Music has never been about perfection. It's about bringing people together. A simple rhythm around a fire could entertain an entire group for hours. People likely sang while traveling, sang while working, sang during celebrations, and sang simply because they felt like it. Of course, not everyone was probably talented. Somewhere in prehistory, there was definitely a guy who thought he had an amazing singing voice while everyone else silently wished a mammoth would step on his flute. Humans also loved games. In fact, evidence of games appears almost everywhere archaeologists look. Ancient board games, carved dice, gaming pieces, and various forms of competition have been discovered across different civilizations. This tells us something important. Humans don't just enjoy winning. We enjoy creating situations where somebody wins and somebody loses. Think about how easy it would be for a game to develop naturally. One person throws a rock and hits a target. Another person says they can do better. A third person joins in. Suddenly, an entire afternoon has disappeared because everyone is competing to see who can throw a rock the furthest. Many games probably started exactly like that. No grand invention, no official rules, just people experimenting because they had spare time and wanted something interesting to do. And honestly, some of today's sports might not be all that different. If you simplify enough activities, They're basically just ancient humans finding increasingly creative ways to throw objects. Ancient humans also created art. Now, when most people hear the words cave painting, they imagine something simple, maybe a few stick figures and some rough drawings. But many prehistoric artworks are surprisingly detailed. Some show animals with incredible accuracy. Others depict hunting scenes, symbols, and mysterious images that researchers still debate today. Why did people spend time making art? Partly because humans enjoy being creative, but also because creativity itself can be entertaining. Imagine sitting in a cave during a long winter with very little to do. Drawing on the wall suddenly becomes a lot more appealing. And if we're being completely honest, humans still do the exact same thing today. The only difference is that instead of drawing on cave walls, we post things online. The technology changed. The desire to leave our mark behind didn't. Another popular way to fight boredom was competition. Humans are naturally competitive creatures. If two people exist in the same place long enough, eventually one of them will challenge the other to something. Who can run faster? Who can throw farther? Who can climb higher? Who can lift more? These challenges weren't just entertaining. They were useful. The best hunters, strongest fighters, and fastest runners often gained respect within their communities. But usefulness wasn't the only reason people competed. Sometimes people simply wanted bragging rights. And that's a force more powerful than almost any technology humanity has ever invented. In fact, boredom and competition together may have been responsible for countless inventions throughout history. Imagine sitting around doing nothing all afternoon. Eventually someone suggests trying something new. Maybe it's a different hunting technique. Maybe it's a new tool. Maybe it's a game. Maybe it's a joke. Human progress doesn't always come from necessity. Sometimes it comes from curiosity. Sometimes it comes from boredom. One of the most overlooked ways ancient humans entertained themselves was simply talking to each other. Modern life sometimes makes us forget how powerful conversation can be. For most of human history, people themselves were the entertainment. They shared stories. They discussed strange events. They argued. They laughed. They gossiped. And yes, gossip almost certainly existed in prehistoric times. If you think ancient humans spent their evenings discussing philosophy and survival strategies, you're probably giving us too much credit as a species. Somewhere around a campfire, somebody was definitely asking if everyone had heard what happened to the guy from the neighboring tribe. Some things never change. The more you look at ancient humans, the more familiar they start to seem. They worried about things. They got excited about things. They laughed at stupid jokes. They enjoyed spending time with friends. They found creative ways to pass the time when nothing important was happening. In other words, they were people. It's easy to imagine history as a world filled with individuals completely different from us. But that's rarely true. Ancient humans didn't think of themselves as ancient humans. They were just ordinary people living ordinary lives. They woke up, ate food, talked to friends, got bored, and searched for something interesting to do. And perhaps that's the most surprising part of all. After tens of thousands of years of technological progress, after cities, nations, computers, smartphones, and the internet, our favorite ways of fighting boredom haven't actually changed very much. We still tell stories. We still listen to music. We still play games. We still create art. We still compete. We still gossip. We still spend time with people we enjoy being around. The tools are different. The humans are not. So the next time you're scrolling through videos because you're bored, remember that you're participating in a tradition that stretches back tens of thousands of years. Ancient humans may not have had smartphones, but they understood the feeling perfectly. The only real difference is that instead of sitting around a campfire listening to stories, you're sitting in front of a screen listening to one now.